I had heaps of leftover licensed fabric from when I covered my cheap-ass ironing board last month, and I thought, you know what? Name a more iconic duo than a Kmart ironing board and a flimsy, poorly sewn item of clothing. Go on, I dare you. I found a few tops I liked. The one that drew my attention was actually a pattern from Etsy. For certain reasons, I didn't want to buy the pattern because, well, I mean, even though it had good reviews, I felt like the preview they used was kind of not great. I mean, what is this? Weird photoshopped glitches? Did they edit some of the tabs out? Are those strings just hanging off the bottom for any particular reason? Also, I mean, it was just a rectangle held up with straps. I didn't feel like I needed to spend money on a pattern like that. And so I didn't. I made it myself. So the first thing I had to do was to sketch out the pattern, which was pretty straightforward, and then I went ahead and started on the pattern pieces in Clo 3D. However, unbeknownst to me, Clo 3D changed all the measurement values on me, so my avatar wasn't right, which I really should have known from looking. I mean, this doesn't even look like my shape. So I cut out my pattern pieces, with which my cat really wanted to help. Like, really wanted to help.
Notice me.
I sewed all of the mock-up pieces together and then I tried them on, and what do you know? It didn't fit. For some reason, it was really wide across the front and the darts were really far into the armpits, and everything was just stretched really, really wide, and I couldn't work out why it was like this for quite a while. So because I was depressed, I ate toast. And then I decided that I was just going to abandon the project for a moment and do some gardening. Because what else do you do when you're sad? You do gardening to make you happy, and it was really sunny outside. So I thought, you know what? Let's do some gardening. Here's me realizing that I hadn't even brought the seeds I wanted to plant yet. Clearly I was a little bit too sleep deprived for this montage. So I decided to plant some Szechuan buttons because apparently they make your mouth go numb. Like, that was their whole selling point for me because I thought it would be strange. And if you wonder how I filmed this part, well, it's not so impressive. Now it was about the stage where I started to have weird feelings about my potting mix because, well, I noticed quite a few ants running around in it, but for some reason I didn't quite realize what I was looking at. For quite a while there were more ants than there rightfully should have been in this potting mix bag, and then eventually I worked it out. I don't know if you can see it, but the white things that all the ants are running around carrying are baby ants. All these ants were just minding their own business, and then there I go trying to do my gardening. But enough about ants. Now it was time to plant some cat grass for this big furry ant, which thankfully grows in all seasons everywhere. I need to make holes in this, but I don't really know how. And then I decided I wanted to plant some swan plants for the monarch caterpillars, which also happen to grow right now. you know, to level my insect karma for decimating all those poor baby ants.
Notice me.
And then I also had to cover my strawberries so that the birds would stop eating them.
Wow!
So I cut out the new pattern pieces. Don't mind the plant, I just had nothing else to hold the pattern down. And then my cat decided he wanted to join in, because of course he did. By the way, if you wondered how my cat scratches himself with his missing leg, this is it. He can't. I have to do it for him. What are you doing? After cutting out the pattern pieces, I then had to sew up all of the darts in both the lining and the outer fabric. While doing this, I realized that one piece of my fabric was upside down, so the Mr. Sparkle heads were going the wrong way, but it was fine. I decided to make that one the lining. Then I just had to iron the darts down, which was pretty straightforward. And then came one of the most annoying parts, which was having to cut out and sew the tubing for the ties. I don't know if you've ever had to do this before, but it is so annoying. I hate sewing tubing. It's so frustrating. Anyway, so I had to cut so much tubing, and then I had to iron it lengthways so that I could sew up one side of it before turning it inside out. This process was so boring. Anyway, when that was done, I just cut off 4 pieces, which were 6 centimeters long, and they became the tabs. And the remainder of the tube was the straps for the back. So for the tabs, I just had to fold them in half and iron them, and then I could sandwich them between the 2 pieces of fabric right sides together, and I did the same for the straps as well. And then I just went and sewed everything, making sure just to leave a spot at the bottom so that I could turn everything inside out. And then I ironed it all down, and I also top stitch around the edge, which is a little extra thing you can do. Who am I kidding? You're never gonna make this top. And I finished off the ends of the tubes by hand, and then with the help of some tweezers, I went ahead and fed the straps through the tabs. And then I was pretty much done. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the top. It does have some weird bust bunching thanks to bad dart placement, and this is what I get when trying to make stuff without a dress form. But just from looking at the reviews from the top on Etsy, that one also has the same bunching across the bust, although people do try to crop it out. But I'm happy, it's a nice summery top that matches my ironing board, and that was the whole point.